question 15, and this is from the SAT number 10, which is the USQAS 2017, May 2017 test. And so let's jump in. So we're going to solve 15, and 15 says the purpose of the adage in line 37 is to do something. So what we need to do to solve this one is try to figure out what is the purpose of the adage, which is like sort of like the little maxim or quote that is given in line 37. What is the purpose of it? So how does it functioning in the passage, and why do we have it here? So this is the adage here that they're talking about, which is a little learning is a dangerous thing. And we got to figure out what is the role. So what role is this playing here? So the only way that I can think of to solve this question accurately is that we need to have a sort of a good sense of what the overall passage is about, and we need to have a sense of this particular location in the text, sort of a comprehension of the argument that the author is making, so we can understand how this sentence is playing out. So within this sentence right here, starting with this second paragraph, is really the author's complaint that women are allowed to receive almost like a partial education, but they're not allowed to have the full reign, right? And full, what she says here, a majesty of mind. So there's still limitations set on the mental life of women set by men, and she's basically complaining. Her point is, why only give us a portion or a fraction of education? Why only give us an incomplete education? Because all of that does is make us realize how much we're actually not at liberty or don't have the freedoms that we have. So, some examples of that might be here. Man says you may read and you will think, but you shall not evince your knowledge or employ your thoughts beyond the boundaries which we have set up around you. So basically, you can read and you will think, but only within the certain limits that we set for you. So then she comes down here. Why expand the female heart? Really to render it more conscious that it is, by the tyranny of custom, rendered vulnerable. So why expand the female heart? Why give women a partial education? Only so that they can understand how much more vulnerable they are and the limitations that are set on them. Then she comes down here. She says, let man remember that a little learning is a dangerous thing. So let man remember that means that she's addressing this maxim or this adage towards men. So she wants men to consider this or to think upon this. And really the main thing that we need, the main point that we need to get here is this part here. A little learning is a dangerous thing. That's the point of emphasis for these lines, because her point is basically an impartial education or a limited education or a little learning is going to be dangerous in the long run, because it's going to make women frustrated. So men need to remember this. It's almost like she's basically saying it needs to be an all or nothing thing, and we shouldn't go a partial or halfway with it. So the purpose of this line here seems to be to address or to remind men of the fact that if women are only receiving a partial education, there could be a negative consequence to that. So we're going to look down here. Let's see if we can find an answer choice that will match that. So A says that the purpose of the adage is to suggest an innovative way of analyzing a pervasive challenge. I don't really think that works, because there's really nothing in that little adage about analyzing a pervasive challenge. It's all she's saying is remember that a little learning is a dangerous thing. And it doesn't really seem necessarily like some innovative way of doing this. So this is not a really good answer choice, and we should eliminate it. Then we have B, which says that the purpose of the adage is to deride a viewpoint that has been gaining popularity. So this would be basically if she was criticizing some sort of popular view, and the only interpretation of this would be if the popular view is that, to be honest, it wouldn't even make sense, because what we're trying to do, what she's doing is she's not criticizing or deriding any viewpoint. And basically she's almost presenting her own viewpoint, which is that a little learning is a dangerous thing. Maybe she'd be criticizing the idea that a lot of learning is a dangerous thing, but none of these really make too much sense. It's because it's not presented as a criticism at all. So I think for that reason alone, we can get rid of B. Then we have C, which says the purpose of the adage is to summarize an old-fashioned belief that is often overlooked. A lot of students choose this because it's a quote. It kind of reminds us maybe of something like some sort of old belief or old like moral or whatever that we might keep with us. So this old-fashioned belief, and it's summarizing it. The problem is that it's not ever presented as an old-fashioned belief. We have no reason or evidence for that. And it's a very specific claim. So for that to be true, we would have to have some evidence for it. So for that reason alone, I think we can get rid of C, which is going to leave us with answer choice D. And let's see if it makes sense. D says, warn that a situation may have negative consequences. And this is a very general, very sort of, it's just a very general, objective kind of answer choice. It's not really saying too much, but I think it works with the text and the adage that we looked at, because the situation would be basically giving women an incomplete education. That would be the situation, a little learning. And then a dangerous thing will be the part that talks about negative consequences. So for that reason, D is a good answer choice, and we should choose it as the correct answer for question 15.